Beyond the Black Rims, a Wednesday edition of Beyond the Black Rims. I am Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 4, Episode 22.
Or Episode 92 if you're counting.
I need to apologize for DJ Downstairs Neighbor this evening. If it so happens that his audio kind of bleeds through into this broadcast, which I know in the past it sometimes has.
That's a thing.
We're not big fans of that guy. Let me know how visuals and audio is coming through, as always, and I will make adjustments if necessary, but I think we're doing okay. You know what, I can't really test it without refreshing myself. I think we're fine.
Yeah, we should be alright.
Nobody's saying anything. Nice wubs. Okay, so clearly the audio is fine.
Yeah, clearly that's fine. So we can work with that. We've worked with worse.
We've worked with worse.
Yes.
I want to thank, before we get too far in, I want to thank, as always, our Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. In fact, we've had one new and one returning Patreon subscriber. So we want to thank Gomer of rtgomer.com, as well as Dodger of Zion, who actually became a Patreon of many of our fellow Channel Awesome and other associated producers this past week, as I just came back from Minnesota.
Right, we were going to talk about that for a second. You were busy filming for the
Atop the Fourth Wall movie, yeah.
Yeah, so how was that?
It was not a horrible experience, really. Of course, I'm trying to pull back what it is I tell you guys. Lewis was actually quite kind in telling us what things we could and could not say or show. He let us take a lot of pictures and share a lot of pictures. I was kind of surprised. If any of you guys have been following me or any of these other producers on Twitter, you might have seen quite a number of shots on set. And, for example, when he was doing his Indiegogo for his campaign to raise the funds to make the movie, he told everybody, he was very upfront with, this is the studio we're going to use. And I went to the website and I was like, oh, it looks like a pretty good studio, but you walk in there and it's a much bigger studio than, like the photos really don't do it justice. Then on top of that, Lewis had contracted some people to help him build a working bridge for a spaceship, you know.
I gotta admit, that's pretty impressive looking.
Yeah, and yes, Brad Jones posted tons and tons of photos. He was just taking pictures left and right, so he was a good source.
So I might not have remembered reading that on the Indiegogo. Did he have a release date in mind?
I'm not sure that he had that, because I can tell you that there's still going to be filming done in, August. So this is still going to be some months down the road.
Okay.
Before it ever comes out. I can't tell you a release date, but I know there's still filming to be done. We wrapped with all of the majority of the cast, but there's still filming.
Because it was you, Brad, Allison, of course, Lewis, Nash.
There's Angry Joe. Lanny Pator of Team 4-Star, Nick.
Yes.
And
that was the primarily
core...
who was out there this weekend.
Yeah.
Or not weekend, 10 days you were out there.
Yeah, I was out for 10 days, and he was nice enough to give us some of those days off as a break if for some reason we just weren't needed for filming. I had an additional day. Yeah, so he timed it for the most part. The pacing of the shooting schedule for the most part was really, really good. It is his first project, so some things were really obvious, like, yeah, okay, you're an amateur and this is your first time doing it, but for being a first-time writer, director, producer, actor in your own pretty larger budget than our movie was.
Oh,
larger
certainly.
Budget movie.
How much was that budget?
$63,000.
Wow.
Which, as Nash showed with the picture of me in my costume of a smiley face paper plate over my face, that's where the money went. Smiley face paper
plate fund. All right.
But no, I think you're gonna see a fun project in the end.
Yes,
for sure.
Well, I'm sure you'll let us know about that as soon as he tells you guys, or the internet at large, when that's coming out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you did anything while I was gone. You were probably being all boring and stuff.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, if it's worth mentioning, I've been rebuilding my Heisei Kamen Rider belt collection for anybody who cares about that. But that's, of course, something I can talk about in the post show because, as it
yeah.
turns out, we actually have a show tonight. Almost, we were debating, and technically we kind of still are, whether or not we needed to do 2 shows this week because you guys might have noticed we didn't do a show last week.
We tried, and actually some of you might have also noticed over on Nash's channel, his Radio Dead Air, you know, a whole bunch of us producers who were working on the Atop the Fourth Wall movie, we were all sitting in with him in his hotel room while we were filming, and he's super dedicated to doing that show, which is a fantastic work ethic on his part.
Yeah.
But even he was having a lot of streaming issues.
Yeah.
Anything that he was doing, like all the videos were loaded from his home PC.
Yeah.
He had this fantastically jerry-rigged...
Oh yeah, he was showing it there on the
setup.
stream. That looked great.
He had 2 laptops trying to broadcast from the hotel, and then he connected his laptop to the hotel's TV through an HDMI cable, and that TV was his dual screen monitor to show his remote access back to his home PC where he was broadcasting the music. So the music videos were coming in, I believe they were fine.
Yeah, those were fine. It was just you guys and like Tara for the section at the end. That was really choppy, but it was funny.
Yeah. So even he was having a really hard time, and he's like he's the friggin' pro of making sure streaming happens no matter what, but we just tried to Skype call one another, and that was like misery.
Yeah. You know, but as it turns out, you know, after about 10 days, you've got quite a bit of stories, and we're primarily going to go with the stories we were going to do as of last week.
However, one of them is in fact a little bit more recent, which I thought was too big not to touch upon.
Right, so let's go ahead and talk about tonight's stories.
Yeah, so to talk about the stories that we're gonna be talking about here in just a few more minutes, Hideo Kojima and Konami. And
like, we've covered it before.
Yeah, like,
but
typically this would be a follow-up. However, Konami has pretty much crapped the bed. And has...
Yeah, they've jumped the shark. They've fallen in the river. That boy ain't right. That to put it lightly.
There's too much. Oh my God, what are you doing, Konami? To not make this a full story, I think. So we'll be getting to that a little bit later.
Our second story of the evening is a little bit older, but a lot of positive news coming out. Galaxy Quest, the beloved, now I think you'd call it a
like it was
cult
kind of a cult classic because it wasn't like blockbuster, like it was blockbuster,
well,
but it was kind of sleeper, you know.
Well, point being, it's beloved by fans of both Star Trek, Star Wars. You know, it speaks to fandom. Well, the thing is, this series, beloved old movie, is actually getting a series, getting a TV series. So we're going to talk a bit about that, what that might cover, and really the effect it had on how a lot of people looked at fandom in general.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, our third story of the evening is going to be addressing this Batman v Superman trailer that teaser trailer thing that dropped last week. A lot of opinions. Many people with lots of opinions. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that.
There's emotions.
Yes. My emotion. Okay, yeah, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But first, before we get to that, we always have our follow-ups. Okay, so let's get right to it.
We need a jingle for the follow-ups.
You know, I think we should. I've already got some stuff in mind. We might start instigating that or instituting that in season 5.
Okay.
So first and foremost, again, everybody has at this point had a chance, if you've got Netflix, to watch Daredevil. Season 2 has now been greenlit.
Of course it has.
Of course it has, because it's been doing nothing but amazing news. You know, just review after positive review coming out about this thing. That's just amazing. I'm very happy for the series. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see what the other ones do. But that's a simple one. Let's move on to other news. Okay, so we've got an update on the Ghost in the Shell movie release date. Basically, to put it that way, we're expecting to see Ghost in the Shell 2 weeks earlier in March of 2017. Looking forward to that. No new news on casting, but I'm sure we'll get more of that in the coming weeks. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got a little bit more news on Suicide Squad. Now, like I said at the beginning of the show, there was a lot of news that came out between the last 10 days or so, and there's one major bit of Suicide Squad news that I'm going to ignore for right now because we might end up talking about that in a later show. But what I will talk about is some more casting, and now we've got Alex Moraz, who's been cast in a unknown role for Suicide Squad, as well as rapper Common, who is also attached to this movie now in an undisclosed role.
Why do they keep adding people?
See, that's the thing I'm wondering about, because this cast keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, you know, you have many actors and
like, I was scared about not quite Justice League, because they kept adding, oh, we've got more heroes, but at least I know where that's going.
Yeah.
Kind of. I was kind of excited about the concept of Suicide Squad.
Right.
But now it's just like, quite frankly, if I might be honest, it's like one of Channel Awesome's anniversary movies.
Oh.
Where it's like, here's all these people and some audience out there is gonna be like, I know each and every one of them, this is so freaking cool, but what about the people who don't know what this guy and this guy and this guy is?
Yeah, I can see that, definitely. Now, the thing about this is, going back and forth, we've talked about, you know, whether or not one character will show up in one movie and another character will show up in another movie. There are some substantiated reports that Ben Affleck has been shown on set in his Bruce Wayne costume. Mm-hmm. So there is, in fact, a chance that at least Bruce Wayne will have a role to play in Suicide Squad. And as for a relation to Not Quite Justice League, we'll cover that once we get to that point in the show. Moving on to other news, we've of course talked about the most recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Well, turns out there's some more casting to talk about here. The role of Shredder, who in the last movie he was casted, but he wasn't really a main actor, a well-known actor.
Yeah.
Well, now he's being played by Brian T.
So is that to say that this is supposed to be the same The Shredder, or is this a different The Shredder?
I don't know,
The same but
honestly.
a different actor?
I'm thinking the same but a different actor.
Okay.
Like, that's not unheard of.
Then on top of that, somebody's cast as Baxter Stockman?
Tyler Perry is Baxter Stockman.
Well, I'm trying to decide how good or bad that is. One, I'm glad they're going with black Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, that's nice.
That I super appreciate, actually. And then, see, I guess Ninja Turtles is meant to be tongue-in-cheek. It's supposed to be, but is Tyler Perry, like, too far?
Well, I don't even know. Like, I'm assuming he wanted to sign on because it's primarily a kids movie, so anybody can watch it. Mm-hmm. But the thing of it is, like I can't imagine. Like, I can imagine him in a lab coat and a button-up and maybe a bow tie, but then I can't not see Medea on his face. You know, the wig and the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Captured the turtles! Hallelujah! You know, like I don't even want that. I don't know that it'll be that bad, but a lot of people have made that joke, not just me.
I see. Yeah.
So you know that's a thing. Great. In other news, we've got a new director for the proposed Warner Brothers Death Note movie, Adam Wingard.
Who's done what?
Who has directed The Guest and You're Next, you know, other horror movies.
Okay,
so
I guess
that's
that
fine.
makes sense.
That makes sense. He will also he's also working on another manga adaptation right now called The Woods over at Lionsgate. So he's keeping work up. So at least they've got somebody who's got current work ethic, current projects going out. I can't say I've seen any of those movies, The Guest or You're Next, but at least they're very much still trying to keep the project alive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could do well over here. I'm concerned about whitewashing, but I think it could still be a decent enough flick, perhaps.
Yes. In other movie news, going to Independence Day 2, we've got somebody from It Follows and The Guest, Micah. That's how you pronounce it. Micah
Monroe. Wow, maybe you should have
Monroe.
looked over this before you...
No, I thought... The problem I have is I keep thinking the I is an L, so I want to say Malka, but no, it's Micah Monroe.
What kind of a name would even be Malka?
Russian?
Forget it.
I don't know.
Not even
well, that's one person, but the other two people who have joined on to the cast is officially now we can say that Judd Hirsch, Brent Spiner, and Bill Pullman are now part of the cast. Judd Hirsch, of course.
Brett Spiner?
Spiner, that's right. I always have those problems
What
with
is
last
wrong?
names.
What's wrong with you?
But of course, the thing about it is Bill Pullman played President Whitmore in the original, and Brett Spiner was one of the main professors there working at Area 51. Now,
yeah,
the thing about it is...
wasn't he dead?
See, that's the thing everybody's starting to wonder about. Like, that was my first question was, didn't he die? Dr. Oakham, that was his name, Dr. Oakham. Like, didn't he die there, release me? And then they shot through the glass. Like,
yeah.
James shot through the glass, and then I'm pretty sure he... Like, everybody was pretty certain, well, he didn't come back for the rest of the movie. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Unless he didn't.
I guess they just didn't check his body, and I guess maybe he got up and walked away after that.
Yeah, but at least...
I guess.
But at least we've got the bulk of the original cast back. Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Judd Hirsch, Brent Spiner. But, of course, no Will Smith. But I don't think that'll be too hard to explain away why he's not there. So...
Well, I just plain think it shouldn't exist with or without him. So,
yeah, but this is one of those things where, unfortunately, I just kind of have to accept that was a thing.
I do not accept its existence. No, sir.
I wish I had your dedication.
And my resolve.
And your resolve. In other sequel news, we've got an update on Pacific Rim 2. Originally, it was supposed to come out on April 7th of 2017. That date has actually been pushed back to deeper into the summer on August 3rd.
Do you think that's a stronger date, at least?
Well, here's the thing about it. If it's anything like, say, Guardians of the Galaxy this past year, this will be the movie that closes out the summer.
Yeah, okay.
And that worked in Guardians' favor, it was a fun...
Because April movies aren't necessarily strong movies, right?
Not inherently, like even the reason why we're doing the show today is the tail end of April going into May. May is really where you count your start of the summer blockbuster season. And so now with Pacific Rim getting this early August, like beginning of August date, that's kind of like, okay, you're the tail end. We'll allow that. Because if it was any deeper... Because if it was any deeper into August, then I'd be worried.
Yeah.
But since it's just at the very beginning, it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to finish it out. You want to end strong. People are getting ready to go back to school. They know vacation's almost up. They want to see a fun popcorn movie, awesome, mecha on kaiju action. This is where they're going to get it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So in that sense, I don't think it's a bad idea that they went for that. So that's a good thing for them. I'm of course my butt is in that seat already. I'm sitting here, but my butt is in that seat. And I think that'll cover it for now, considering a lot of the other stuff we might be saving for another show down the road.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get to our first topic.
Yeah, I guess I should actually bring up the image.
So there's this company, right? They're called Konami. And
they're having some problems.
They're kind of having some problems.
So we discussed, I guess it was last week or the week before, one of the two.
I think it was the week before.
Well, clearly we didn't have a show last week.
Yeah, but
either way, we had already discussed how Konami seemingly dickishly started slowly removing Hideo Kojima's name and Kojima Productions' name off of things like Metal Gear Solid 5. And it was really starting to look like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And, Kojima was demoted to no longer being an employee, but being a contracted dude.
Yeah, like he was only there for the duration of the next Metal Gear Solid, and they were very adamant about once that game's done, he's done. He's gone.
Well,
we're not even...
I don't know about that.
I read between the lines. Come on, there's no... How can you not read that as some bad blood is going on when your name is being removed from everything? And of course, one of the questions we had at the time, back when we first covered the story was, well, okay, that's all well and good for Metal Gear Solid. It'll still exist as a franchise, but what does this mean for the crossover between Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, the Silent Hills game?
Yeah, so Kojima was the first to say, man, I'm really sad we're not doing Silent Hills anymore, and everyone was like,
what?
Oh,
wait, what?
No.
What did you say?
Then Norman...
I'm sorry, that sounded like you said you weren't doing the game anymore.
Then Norman Reedus is like, man, I was really looking forward to being part of this project. Maybe it'll happen again someday. Sorry, guys. And I'm like, Daryl, did you just say, I'm sorry? That sounded like you were saying the same thing Kojima said, that you're not doing the game. And then Konami's like, so Silent Hills is canceled.
Why can't we have nice things? Why?
The potential,
Why?
the potential for Silent Hills was amazing. So much potential for these amazing producers to collaborate with one another.
Like, this was going to be a dream project.
Such a dream team of people that you couldn't even... Your wildest fantasies probably... prior to the announcement of Silent Hills, never was telling you, let's put Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima together and let Norman Reedus act in it.
And you remember all the crap they were talking about, like, oh, this thing's gonna be so, like, crap your pants scary. Like, this is gonna be the next level of...
Kojima himself was like, you're gonna shit your pants.
Yeah.
And you need another pair of pants. Like, I only say that, I only...
That's a quote.
Like,
that's a direct quote.
I only say that because it's a quote. So what is further sad is that now today is your very last day. If you're here with us live in the stream, if you're on YouTube, you're screwed. Today is your very last day to download PT, playable trailer,
playable teaser,
or playable teaser for Silent Hills. And in fact, God knows whether or not Konami's going to allow you to access your own downloaded copy.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Oh no.
Yeah, because we downloaded it, and all I've done is watched playthroughs, because somebody had kept asking me, are you going to stream PT? You should stream PT, because that would be really fun to watch. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I was waiting to stream it.
Well, see, that's the thing. You were waiting in the safety of knowing that eventually you would have a game to play.
Yeah.
But now you don't even have that. Nobody has that. We got Jack. We got less than Jack. We have our sample of Jack being taken off the tray.
Yeah.
There is no Jack. And now, like, if that wasn't bad enough, you know, our hearts go out to every single horror game and Silent Hill fan out there.
Because granted, Konami is still saying, oh, there's still going to be Metal Gear Solid, and there's still going to be Silent Hill. But they're not talking about the future of these particular titles. Like, there is no more Silent Hills. Like, who even gives a crap about what Silent Hill is doing anymore?
Yeah.
Who even cares anymore? Because all we wanted was Silent Hills.
Right,
That's
exactly.
all we
it's
wanted.
Like, you showed us that trailer for Silent Hills, and it was like, just take what you need. Just go. And then this announcement, well, don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so many wallets are closing up right now. So many wallets did close up, but now on top of that, it seems like Konami themselves are having a little bit of a odd decision-making period, because now they've, as of this week, taken themselves off the New York Stock Exchange.
Which is kind of bizarre. Now, granted, they're still on the stock markets in London and Tokyo, but New York's kind of important, you know. America's market is kind of important in the world market. That's kind of scary. Now you have to also realize, when it comes to the name Konami, Americans will probably only associate Konami with its video game market, but they do so much other kinds of business in Japan. There were some times I was walking around in Japan and I was like, Konami Sports Club? What is that? And I'm looking in and I'm like, they don't have any arcade machines, and it's like a gym. And I was like, what? What is this? And then you come to realize, Konami, you know, they do these sports clubs. They have gambling machines in other countries where gambling is legal. And they do pachinko machines. So, like, Konami-themed, game-related themed pachinko machines. Kind of like slot machines. You know, pachinko is gambling, but without money involved. Unless you're really clever and you know how to get around certain things. You're not supposed to be gambling with pachinko machines. But, so they do all kinds of other stuff. So gaming is only so important to them, it would seem. And it seems like it's only so important that they're just like, you know what? We're gonna wash our hands of this situation and we're gonna back up. Maybe somebody will buy that branch out from them.
Well, see, that's the thing people have been wondering now. Is Konami going to be put up for sale now? Like,
I would not imagine Konami as a company would be put up for sale. I would imagine that Konami, as far as their digital entertainment branch, is likely going to start selling off perhaps their game titles. Because think about it, Metal Gear Metal Gear Solid specifically, because there's only a little bit of a difference between Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid. Same franchise, but whatever.
Yeah.
Metal Gear was one of their highest selling franchises. Now, granted, their last few releases, while being their best selling, were not the best selling Metal Gear has ever been.
True, this is true.
So they were kind of, in a way, spiraling a bit, but
You mean like circling the drain?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, nobody thought it was doing so bad that they were just going to suddenly off themselves. And then following that, I can't remember what comes after Metal Gear as far as big selling titles, but then like third in the list is like the Bimani stuff, for example, DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, and all their other rhythm game stuff.
But that's more or less dried up over here in the States, hasn't it?
For the most part, yeah. Now, granted, they keep marketing new DDR machines, and they still get translated, and they still get brought over here, but they're being brought over less and less, I notice. I'll tell you this much, San Antonio has not gotten a new DDR machine in city in I don't know how long.
At least 10 years?
Oh, I don't know, about 10 years, at least within the last 6 to 7 years.
That's still a while.
That's still kind of a while. Some other more highly populated places that have a more active arcade scene have had some of the ones in the X series, and
yeah.
I have almost never seen an X machine. In Japan, Bimani is doing amazingly. Man, Jubeat is so much fun. I'm telling. See, that's the thing though. There's all these fantastically innovative rhythm games that we over here as Americans will never ever see. Then there was that Castlevania rail shooter thing. Like they've got a number of really awesome arcade machines, but our arcade scene is practically dead. Like they're doing better in Japan than they're doing over here.
That's the thing. If your arcade scene is dead, Konami, why you got to take it out on Silent Hills? Why? You could have bounced back with that if you'd done it right. And at this point, I'm wondering with some people like, can Kojima crowdfund it? Is there any way we can let this thing live? Please let it live. I want to play this. I want to buy new brown pants. And the thing about it is, like, is that even a thing? Like, hypothetically, could at least those three people, Kojima, Del Toro, and Get Reedus back to act on it, make a game that's not exactly...
Yeah, that's the thing. It can't be called Silent Hills, and it can't do exactly what it was originally going to do, because...
Well, how do we know that?
Well, Konami would know, and Konami would sue the pants off of them if they found out that they were trying to do the exact same game.
Yeah, but that's stupid.
Look, I don't know. All I know is that apparently even the Bimani branch, the music game branch of Konami, has now been subsidized into just the generic audio engineering team under Konami, which isn't the same thing. Like, Bimani was its own separate team, but now they're like, nope, we're downsizing and we're shoving you all together with all these other people who just make, like, sound effects.
So they're consolidating.
Yeah, and according to an insider from Konami, which you have to take with a grain of salt, but apparently it's a respected source, they're saying there's going to be layoffs like you wouldn't believe, downsizing, and hundreds of people will lose their jobs, is what we are being told. And now, granted, again, take it with a grain of salt. However, with all this information, that wouldn't be a surprise, right?
I guess not. It really seems like they are, in fact, going down the tubes, because none of this... How can any of this be spun positively? Because I can't figure out a way.
Realize, too, Japan has had their home console market is not doing nearly as well as it once did. And instead, everybody's moving to mobile games. Mobile is getting so huge in Japan right now. Konami doesn't have much of a leg to stand on when it comes to mobile games. Could it be that they're having this rapid split decision of like, oh crap, let's throw away everything console related, jump into the mobile market right now, do it now.
See, if they were going to make that decision, they should have already made that decision by this point.
Well, they should have also been, like, slowly weaning onto it, and not panicking, because the panic is gonna kill them.
Well, that's speculating that they're panicking.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but for sure, what we can tell without speculation is something's not right over at Konami. Like, just baseline, something's not right there. When you're looking at potential layoffs, you're looking like you're selling off part of your assets, and you're getting rid of your most notable franchises, or at least consolidating parts out to other people, or taking off the creative portions of it and very much segregating them. Like, oh, there's Metal Gear, but we don't need Kojima. You don't even worry. You know, there's Metal Gear over here, and there's this. There's what was that? We were not even talking about that. Where there's like, that's not good business in general.
So Konami's sitting here trying to spin it like they're not dead. In fact, we're still hiring, they say. As if, really, it almost sounds more like what they're doing is replacing Kojima's entire staff with people they want. And, you know, it could end up okay, except all their business decisions seem, from the outside, so rash that how does that look good? How does that give me any sort of hope for any future titles they might have, either in the Metal Gear or the Silent Hill franchise? Neither franchise looks healthy to me right now.
No, there doesn't seem to be any hope there now. Like, pretty much any other company paying attention to this, like, wow, Silent Hill's just bit the bucket. We'll kick the bucket. We need to move in on the horror market now. If somebody's smart enough, they'll take advantage of this situation.
That would be smart. That would be very smart.
So if anybody's going to do that, perhaps hire Kojima to work on some sort of new horror game. Please, we implore you, do that now.
And Del Toro, too.
And Del Toro. Both of them. You may not need Ritas, but at least those two guys.
Yeah.
At least.
So, another story.
Galaxy Quest. Alright, so...
I know the theme. I don't know that anybody else knows the theme. But...
I can't say I know it. But I know the movie.
Okay, well, anyway. So, yes. Galaxy Quest is a movie.
Yes, it is a great movie.
And it was not necessarily the most, like everybody knew about what it was, but I think now it's had, like, all this time to kind of...
Well, it's been out for 15 years now.
It's had all this time to attain an audience, and it speaks to so many people because it's about Star Trek without being about Star Trek. Well, they kind of dance around it as if it's not, but it totally is.
See, that's the thing about it. Even J.J. Abrams called Galaxy Quest one of the best Star Trek movies ever made, and that's coming from the dude who who's made Star Trek movies.
In any case, so for those of you who don't really know what Galaxy Quest is...
it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix. In fact, I was kind of rewatching it while I just had to sit there waiting for a ride in the lobby of the hotel room to get back to the airport. But in any case, so Galaxy Quest in this movie universe was a TV series that got...
very much akin to Star Trek.
It's practically Star Trek. But then the story of the movie is talking about these actors who were on this TV show, and they're having to do these silly gigs like at conventions and stuff where there's all of these fanboys who are cosplaying and trying to get their autographs and stuff.
And talking to them about specs about the actual ship that doesn't really exist, and... You know, they're having to put up with stuff a lot of people...
It's relatively real in that sense, but only the guy, Tim Allen, only the guy who played the main character in Galaxy Quest is still thrilled with, I'm still, like, the hot stuff around here, and everybody loves me, and everybody else is like, I'm sick of your crap. So then one day, actual aliens show up who saw the TV show Galaxy Quest and thought it was a real show. They came, they made their own 100% accurate, TV-accurate... copy of the Galaxy Quest spaceship, and they have their own bad guy that they're trying to defeat, and they try to hire the actors from the TV show to help them defeat their big bad evil guy in space, which is very, very comical because they're just actors and they don't actually do any of those jobs in real life. So it's such a fun movie.
Oh yeah, I remember watching this thing when it came out, and like, I only knew so much about it, and admittedly at the time, like, I hadn't watched through very much original Star Trek. I had seen a lot of Next Generation, but even then, a lot of the jokes still rang true about how, all the actors were kind of feeding off each other, like, oh, I can't stand his ego. How come you have to always be that method in character? And it's just so many quotable lines from that movie, like, go for its weak point. It's a rock monster. It doesn't have any weak points.
Oh, all right. Try and figure out what is its motivation.
It's a rock monster. It doesn't have a motivation. All right, look around. See, do you have anything down there that you can use to make a rudimentary lathe?
So it's a fun movie, but the thing is, so now, who is it who's trying to make this TV series?
That would be... Wait, why is it going...
Yeah, what are you doing?
I don't know, my computer's acting very funny.
Okay. That's the thing, this is now going to be a TV series.
From Paramount Television. They don't currently
Which
have...
is funny, because Paramount owns the rights
to Star Trek. Yes. So, yeah, they'd probably likely still have similar... budget. And the thing about it is, we've talked a little bit before when we were talking about Star Trek Renegades, is that there was this more or less a fan consensus that there needs to be some sort of presence of Star Trek on television, since that's where it's thrived for 2 different generations.
Yeah, and
you would kind of get something like that with Galaxy Quest, except in addition to being about a basically Star Trek-esque show, you could also talk about fandom, which is a lot of what the movie is based in.
But this is the question, is this going to be a TV series about the TV series Galaxy Quest, or is this a TV series about, yeah, there's a TV show in our universe called Galaxy Quest, and we're the actors who have to put up with fandom and
well, see, that's the thing. They haven't said one way or the other. And at that point, that leads you to basically say, well, really, you could go one of these 2 routes. Could you actually make a Galaxy Quest series, like the show that those characters were actually on, like we're watching it? Or would you do it more like the movie? My money would be on the movie, because if they did it just as Galaxy Quest, the series, that's too close to Star Trek.
It's too close to Star Trek, and I think it would make a lot of people mad, especially because of that one Star Trek, Renegades?
Yeah, that we were talking about 2 weeks ago.
That they were trying to pitch to CBS. And everyone's like, it's time for the return of Star Trek to TV. And I think people in general are right. I think Star Trek does need to come back to TV, and I think if this was made to be Galaxy Quest, the TV show Galaxy Quest that we're meant to absorb, and not follow the actors as they're trying to clunk around and
well, because the thing about it that you gotta...
That would really piss people off, is what I'm saying.
Well, the thing you gotta take into consideration is, would you basically, again, from that standpoint, if you're aiming it more in the direction of the movie, you've got 2 options there. Is it a continuation of the story? Like, as we saw at the end of the movie, obviously, in movie universe, the show got picked up again and updated, and everybody got back to playing their old roles. Or would you basically do a retelling of the movie and take it from there, like it's these actors trying to act like they know what's going on in space?
Yeah.
Which of those 2 seems more feasible? I think actually either one of them.
I don't know. I think the second one sounds more feasible and perhaps more fun. Because if it's picking up from where the movie left off, I think that would be a little too confusing. It might be a little too convoluted to make them come up with new things to do, because then you might as well tell a Galaxy Quest TV Galaxy Quest story.
Well, see, now I'm also thinking about it, too, because you also have to think about, the time difference. 15 years is 15 years. Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, they don't look
These
as
people
great.
are totally not going to be cast. I'm calling it right now. It's not going to be Tim... If anybody out of them were cast, maybe Tim Allen.
Well,
maybe.
as far as I know, he's still working on Last Man Standing on ABC right now.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So he does television and always has done television. But if he's still doing television, he can't do 2 televisions. I mean, I guess he could, but that would sure be hard. Sigourney Weaver, no, she's too old.
Yeah.
She's too old.
Tony Shalhoub technically could do it. He's not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I guess not.
Alan Rickman, well, he's got movie money. I don't think he'd do series.
No, he's gotten too famous.
Well, I mean, he was already famous back then.
Yeah, but he got, then Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, of course. And then, of course, people forget, that was one of Sam Rockwell's breakout roles next to The Green Mile. There has to be, and a lot of fans have said this, if you're bringing back the show no matter what, we need to see the further adventures of Rock, Guy, Intersoul, patrolman there in the show, because it was nice seeing him go from being basically a red shirt in the movie to being this guy who was more cemented in who his role was. He created his own character. They told him, no, you give your character a name. You move forward with that. And then you see at the end of the movie, they let him have his own character.
Yeah.
So, I think it's more likely that they'll just recast the roles and kind of retell the movie, but then keep the story going.
Mm-hmm. And if you modernize it, kind of like is suggested here in the chat, there's now, internet fandom that has gone way beyond what it was 15 years ago. Granted, those kids in the movie are kind of networked together, and they're sharing files and images of the blueprints of the ship.
Funny thing, it was because of Galaxy Quest I got a lot of people, and maybe you guys could tell me, ever since that movie, people keep saying I look like Justin Long, the lead nerd kid that ends up finding...
I don't see it.
I don't really see it either, but I get that a lot. I don't know why.
I completely don't see it.
From strangers. But yeah, you can have totally new sort of things, like how do these actors on Galaxy Quest handle social media? How do they handle the paparazzi and hiding, no, we actually do work with aliens, get away.
Yeah.
Like, that would be interesting to see. Now, the question is, of course, they're developing this over at Paramount, but will they take this to pilot? Will we ever get to see this? I would like to.
I'd like to, too, yeah. I'm kind of wondering, if doing this TV series will kill what charm the original movie had. I mean, surely if your brain is sectioned well enough, you can just say the movie was the movie, the TV show is its own separate mess.
It's the same thing with, say, the Fargo series. Mm-hmm. It's the series and the movie is still the movie.
Yeah.
Like, if you took it that route, heck, if you put it on FX, that would be actually a great network to put that show on. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That's my recommendation. If you're going to go ahead and move forward with this Paramount, put it on FX, that would be the channel to do it on.
Okay.
Because they've got a partnership with them, I think.
I think they do too, yeah.
Okay, what's our last story?
Oh,
yeah!
Okay.
Woo! Okay, so, inside of a year, finally, we got our first look at, not quite Justice League, Batman v Superman.
Not exactly our first look, but our
first official, released footage.
Yeah.
Other than those 15 seconds of nothing.
Yeah.
15 seconds where the only new shot was the bat suit. Okay, so let's break this thing down. Obviously, this thing looks dark. Let's start there. This thing looks dark.
Well, if it says versus in the title, I guess that sort of implies there's going to be dark things because they don't like each other. But all the same, when we saw, maybe some of you guys have seen that whoever that guy was who recolorized.
Oh, what if Man of Steel was in color?
What if Man of Steel was in color and they lightened it up rather than oversaturated how dark the movie was, and it looked like a completely different movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wondering if Batman v Superman could have that done to it, but it seems like the whole tone of the movie is like, oh, you want grimdark? Oh, we're gonna give you grimdark. Oh my God.
Like, I was already complaining that the Fantastic Four, admittedly, just to talk on that for a second, the newest trailer for that, while still being very dark, looks at least more entertaining.
Second trailer made the movie look a lot more watchable too.
Not perfect. Not perfect, but watchable. This, however, looks like a hot mess getting ready to come out.
I'm not thrilled that the majority of this trailer,
at least half of it,
looks like it's just this shot as we're coming in on a really obviously CG statue of Superman.
Right.
While we hear a bunch of, news narrative
TV pundits, and I think Lex Luthor, too, talking some mess about, well, what are the implications of this Superman flying around?
And I'm like, well, this tells me nothing. Otherwise, it's just everyone's really upset. Isn't anybody happy with anything? No, everyone is upset for some stupid reason.
Well, I mean, this is the thing I'm taking from it. Admittedly, on the plus side, it looks like Snyder was paying attention to everybody saying, what the hell, you let Clark Man blow up half of Metropolis defeating Zod. Nobody should be happy with that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of people saying that towards him, and it seems like Snyder went, oh, they didn't like what I did? Oh, well then I need to write this. And then he took a big ol', one of those giant pencils they give you in first grade, and he was like, Superman bad. And that was the beginning. That was page 1 of this script, because you can see with all his, fancy shots and whatnot, we get the shot of this statue of Superman, and blatantly right there across the chest, false god. Like, that's very... Like, I get people would be protesting and be mad about Superman, but that seems a little...
But who was calling him God? I mean, just because he has powers, who was calling him God?
Well, see, here's my bigger thing. I can't tell exactly how big the statue is, but I'm going based off...
Thanks, DJ downstairs neighbor.
I'm going based off scale. There's lights, there's a crane in the background, there's trees, so that statue is very tall.
Yeah.
If you're... Other than somebody who is Superman, i.e. has the power of flight... How did they paint that on there? How did they get up there?
Superman did it himself.
Superman trolled himself. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, maybe he wants to just be left alone. You don't know.
If he wanted to be left alone, what's up with these other shots of him flying around the world and saving people?
Well, then his morals came in, and he was like, well, I probably did kill all these people.
Oh, morals. You mean those things that he didn't seem to have in the first movie?
I did kind of accidentally kill all these other people while I was throwing Zod through buildings and crap. Yeah, I should probably make up for that. Like, he's probably only protecting people because he feels bad about what he did, not because he actually thinks it's the right thing to do.
Well, yeah, because you look at these shots of Superman, like, there's one right there at the beginning, the first shot we see of him, he's there, and there's all these people reaching out for him, and he's got this kind of look on his face, like, he doesn't...
Man, why am I even here?
Well, like, I get it, like, he's starting to feel the weight of, basically being the world's savior, basically, because there's a lot of that Savior Christ imagery going on for him.
I am so not thrilled with that.
No.
That's some crap right there.
Yeah, and then you overhear Lex Luthor like, oh, we know better. Demons don't come, from hell. They come from the sky.
Like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, what even the hell? Like, even if I was in the world of the movie and I hear Lex Luthor say that to me, I'm like, dude, really, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to paint him bad? Because you're obviously trying to paint him bad.
Yeah, and it's funny, because Snyder's like, oh, this isn't the Man of Steel sequel, yet he sure is painting it like it's supposed to happen immediately after Man of Steel. The majority of this teaser is about Superman, and not really about Batman. Batman shows up kind of at the end of the teaser, and he's like, I like this suit I'm looking at. I'm gonna go wear it and stand out in the
Let's
rain.
go talk about that for a second, which, of course, being the other half of this trailer. Right at the 1 minute mark, we start getting narration from what seems to be Jeremy Irons' Alfred, talking about that's how it starts, like a fever. The kind of thing that makes good men cruel. And I'm like, that sounds like I'm missing a lot. Like, we get it having made a trailer.
Context?
Like, what is the context of that? Like, I don't quite get why they chose those sound bites for this trailer.
Yeah, because that tells me nothing. In fact, that confuses me. That doesn't make me excited.
But we're looking at Ben Affleck, and I've had conversations with friends, my brother. I can't tell what's going on with his face. He just kind of looks. Well, he's looking at something, obviously.
Actually,
I don't actually think he's looking at the bat suit.
Well, because he does kind of look. What is that? Sad? Is that
somber?
Is that kind of miffed?
I can't tell.
Yeah, it's not happy, I guess, unless he's hiding. Man, I can't show people how happy I am right now.
Oh, so he's Tim Duncan?
I guess.
No, but so we're looking at him like, I don't get the context of Alfred's lines for one thing. Then we take a look at the bat suit, which admittedly looks fairly comic accurate for the first time ever, basically, on screen. And then we see all these other shots of, like, the Batmobile in action, and that apparently they've gone ahead and confirmed that that's a actual bat drone that Batman now owns.
So he's not in it.
No, he's not in it. He's down there on the ground in the Batmobile. Like,
oh, okay.
Okay, whatever, fine.
So he's got tech, alright, that's
he's got tech. Now, there's this one shot of him coming out of what seems like wreckage, and for the first...
rubble
or something. Like, I don't know what the hell Ben Affleck's taking, but he is so swole here. Like, he's And they've gone on record as saying, oh, we tried to make sure that Batman's stature was much bigger than Superman's. That way he looked more impressive. And I'm like, that's not exactly how it works, though. It's not about Batman being, like, of course Bruce Wayne has, of course, built his physical prowess up.
Yeah, Batman's buff, but he's not alien from another planet with powers that could, like, crack the planet in half kind of strong.
Yeah,
that's
like
Superman's job.
Exactly. Whereas here, it's like, how did you even get into that suit? Like, this was the complaint I had about, you know, the comparison between Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man suit versus Andrew Garfield in the Spider-Man suit. Andrew Garfield had the wiry, elongated physique that befits Spider-Man, whereas Tobey Maguire bulked up for Spider-Man, so he was a very barrel-chested Spider-Man, which isn't exactly the most comic-accurate thing. Here, now granted, since they're basing this a lot off The Dark Knight Returns, yeah, I get why he looks like that, but even then, in actual practice, I don't think that's the most, not impressive. I just don't think that was the wisest choice.
I see what you're saying.
Let's put it that way. And then we have the next shot of Batman up on a tower or something overlooking the city with his cape. Well, obviously CG cape flapping in the wind.
He does that sometimes.
No, like, I was cool with this shot until somebody pointed out to me, like, I just took for granted the thing he's standing next to. Like, I thought it was just the top of the tower, like an antenna or something, and people have been pointing out, oh, that's not an antenna, that's a sniper rifle.
Okay, so
Batman's got a gun.
Batman's got a gun.
I was trying to avoid that, but it's
got
like,
a gun.
Caitlin, refresh my memory.
Clark Man's on the road.
Refresh my memory. What weapon killed Bruce Wayne's parents?
A burglar. He was a weapon.
And what's the one thing Batman swore never to use?
Burglars. Okay.
Like, okay, that's 2 strikes against you already. And then we've got this showdown, apparently, between...
In the rain. That makes it dramatic.
Yeah, that makes it dramatic. And then, of course, we've got our first taste of his Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman voice, of course, digitized. Tell me, do you bleed? You will. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then...
And I'm like, that almost sounds like you're trying too hard to sound hard. Like, people had a problem with Bale's voice. Like, I'm waiting for more sound bites to come out before this gets made fun of. Like freaking Roger bringing up here, I never thought I'd see the day where I thought I would prefer the Lego rendition of Batman to the actual physical, a person in a suit version of Batman.
I don't know what that alert noise was because the computer's not even telling me there's a problem, but oops, noises.
Yeah, but it's like nothing about this movie, like, I'm gonna go see it, but not for the reasons I wanted to as a kid growing up, imagining what this movie would be like. Now it's just a matter of proving, okay, Snyder, I know you screwed up. How bad did you screw up?
So now it's going for the sake of comical, like, this is a circus, and you want to see just how bad it goes down the drain.
At this point, yeah, and I don't even see the hints of visuals that make me want to go see this, because like, you took an iconic shot like Batman on top of any sort of high surface looking down over the city, something iconic, something that I was so happy that they put in Batman Begins, and it was subtle, you know, it was on a helicopter and it was bad lighting, but he was there doing it for the first time since friggin' Michael Keaton in 1989. And it established him. It was great. And here your establishing shot of Batman is, yeah, he's there up there with a sniper rifle. Like, Snyder, do you understand how Batman works?
He didn't understand how Superman worked.
I guess he doesn't understand either one.
Why do you think he would know how Batman worked? And I'll kind of leave off on this, and I've said it before. I thought a long time ago, back when he was doing, 300 and Watchmen, that he was pretty good at doing adaptations of things, and then once Sucker Punch came along, then it was like, okay, you need to just not write things. Like,
yeah.
That's your problem. Let's keep you doing adaptations and you'll be fine. Then came Man of Steel, and I was like, I was wrong. What happened? Where did it go? You had it right a couple of times, and then where did it go? I don't know where it went. It's gone.
Yeah, like, I don't even care at this point whether or not Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, anybody else shows up, because at this point it's like, I can't possibly fathom what rational or even irrational idea you came up with to bring these people together, because right now I don't even get why they're fighting, you know, much less why they would work together.
But that's about it. We're going over time.
Well, not exactly. We had that little hiccup, so we're right on it.
Yeah, we're pretty much at the end of our time. I'm sure we could keep talking about this plenty more. If you're here with us live in the chat room right now, feel free to talk to us more about this topic, the other topics of the show, or anything else you want to ask us questions about, because we're going to stick with you for an additional half hour past the technical showtime, and we'll just talk with you guys. But if you guys are watching us on YouTube, then you should be coming down here to hang out with us Thursday nights. I know tonight's a Wednesday, but be with us on Thursday nights at 9 p.m.
Yeah, next
Central.
week it'll be a normal show.
Next week will be a normal show, but we're only going to have a normal show for a couple more weeks before we wrap up the season.
Yeah.
But come down next week, 9 p.m. Central, to twitch.tv/MarsGirl, and we're going to be excited to see you guys down here. And I guess that's about it.
Yeah, and during the week you can always talk to us over on Twitter. I am at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
So that having been said, that's been this week's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night.